Jean, how are you? How's everything going? Tell a little bit about yourself and what's going on in the little red dot this week.
Sure. Hi, Jasper. Congratulations on 20 years. I think the last, when we first met each other, it was like way back when, and then now you've...
Sports Matters.
Yeah.
You did the first Sports Matters press conference.
Wow. I don't even remember that. Hi, everyone. I'm Jean. I take charge of the Experience Development Group portfolio within STB. So essentially, you can see me as the person that is the product developer for Singapore. Our job is to make Singapore an attractive destination for tourists. To your question on what's happening in the little red dot these days, I would say lots of things. I can't start without making a plug for F1. As you know, F1 is this weekend. And for those who maybe haven't been following the news, next year, Singapore will host a sprint. Sprint is basically a shortened version of the actual race, so like half the distance. And will be the first street circuit to really host a sprint in 2026. So if you are an F1 fan, I think next year's ticket will give you huge value because you get to see both the full race as well as the sprint. Tickets go on sale this year. I shall let Adam do the rest of the plug. But what else is happening in Singapore? Let me do it in maybe 3 bounds. What's happening now, what's coming up, and then what's happening in the future. So we've been really shoring up our destination offerings. We've opened a lot of new attractions. For example, the Mandai Wildlife Reserve is going to be almost completely completed by next year. They opened Rainforest Wild this year, the new boardwalk. And by the end of the year, we will also be opening all the indoor attractions. The Oceanarium is open. We've also welcomed a good and full calendar of events this year, everything from Lady Gaga to Blackpink that's coming up. And we continue to welcome MICE visitors because for us, MICE visitors, all of you in the room, you are our high-yield visitors, so we continue on our plan to attract more MICE visitors. In the near term, which is towards the end of the year, I'm happy to report that our tourism numbers are doing well. So last year we ended on a high with 29.8 billion tourism receipts. We are on track to achieving that in the first quarter. Our tourism arrivals are up 3%, so we are hitting 11.8 as of August. We should end the year within what we had expected, which is 18.7 million. So I think our numbers are going strong. And for those of you in the room who attended our tourism industry conference, we've also launched our Tourism 2040 plans. And that is our blueprint for the next 15 years to 2040. With our 2040 ambitions, we hope that Singapore would be a very attractive destination. We want it to be an enduring home, and we also want it to be a global hub. So we can talk a little bit more about how we see tourism in 2040.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you talk about quality tourism, and it's amazing how you know down to the individuals what the numbers are and stuff. But what is quality tourism, and how do you measure success? Is it just inbound, or are there other ways of measuring?
Yeah, I think quality tourism, it's a concept that we had introduced for a while now. I think it goes beyond numbers. I think it's really about how we create sustainable tourism growth. Because Singapore's a small destination, a small country, we cannot be attracting large numbers without consequence. So for example, too much numbers, you get overcrowding on the trains, etc. It's never going to be a good experience. So quality tourism for us is where tourism receipts grow faster than tourism arrivals. For 2040, we are expecting 47 to 50 billion in tourism receipts, and that's going to go faster than our tourism arrivals.
What's a receipt?
Tourism receipts basically is what tourists spend in destination. Yeah, everything from shopping, hotel, dining, basically what you spend in destination, and we want that to grow faster than the numbers that come, which means that for every tourist that enter the city, they will spend more, and they recognize that Singapore is not perhaps the cheapest destination, but they see value in spending in destination. Fantastic.
So I think kind of back to All That Matters and what we're doing this week, how important to the tourism board is music and sport and gaming, the entertainment business. Because you've done some pretty amazing things since last year, like Coldplay and what have you. How important is the entertainment business?
Well, that's a great question. Sports and entertainment have two very similar things in common. They're all about passion points. And we think that these two are very important to us because visitors are looking increasingly for experiential activities. So they want to experience something. And most times, they go along to their passion points and they create communities. So the combination of these two makes it particularly interesting for us to bring in products and events and experiences that will appeal to this group of tourists. So for example, for sports, Singapore doesn't have like an established sports league like your EPL, right? So we actually have to actively create and attract sports properties to bring them into Singapore. This year we hosted the Festival of Football. We've collaborated with NBA to organize the Rising Stars Asia. It's just Rising Stars. We have about 2 to 3 different golf tournaments in destination. We also organize a youth football tournament called JSSL. And all of these is really to capture the interests and people who want to follow a team, who want to watch their star or their team or their idol in action, and they come to Singapore to do that. So I think that's hugely important. And then on the entertainment side, I think music again is going to be a huge motivator for travel. Music is probably one of the only mediums that have truly resisted erosion. You know, like no one's really going to the movies, at least in Singapore nowadays, but music has held up. So we think, again, that is something that really will motivate travel. And beyond concerts that you see, which is Lady Gaga and then Blackpink, we're also trying to attract more of the music festivals to come and host an edition in Singapore. So One Love and Bubbling Island did kind of an Asian-centric music festival about 2 weeks ago. I think looking good, and I think there's a great demand for travel. So hugely important. We love these events, and we would love to host more of it in Singapore.
Fantastic. And obviously with GPSS going on this weekend, I mean, we were part of it, and there's just so many artists in Singapore at the moment.
Absolutely, and I love what you're doing in Clarke Quay. I think it really adds that wonderful buzz of activity in the lead up to F1. F1 has been on our calendar for 16 years, and it originally only started out as a race. But given how it's evolved into this lifestyle product, there's so much opportunities for partners to, like yourself, to kind of program alongside it. So today we have more than 40 program partners who put on everything from a retail program to an activation or even a music kind of festival on the weekend before F1 and during F1 itself, where there are late night parties and all that. But on top of that, we have also an equal number of business events that are taking place around F1. Because I think the type of clientele that come to town resonate across all these different verticals. And it really creates this festival that brings the city to life.
It's interesting. It's not a dad story, but when we did start, Sports Matters was the original event in the Grand Prix, and it was before Netflix Drive to Survive. And so we had the week to ourselves. It's quite busy now, isn't it? Thanks in part to our friends at Netflix. Everyone has to be here this week.
That's what we want. We want everyone to be here this week. And I guess the perspective is that there is something for everyone's passion points. And Singapore is able to provide that kind of activity or that kind of value for them to come earlier, spend more in Singapore, enjoy the Grand Prix, and then go back.
Fantastic. You mentioned partnerships before. How important really are partnerships? You know, I can vouch for a partnership with the STB that's gone since 2011. But how important are partnerships? You've got a lot of potential partners here. So working with event organisers or creative businesses, you know, it is shaping, like you say, shaping the future of tourism. But what are examples of partnerships, and who do you look for? Who do you want to work with?
Well, I would say partnerships, bedrock of our tourism industry. STB is a tourism board. I mean, we are not a big government agency, so we don't do a lot of things ourselves. We actually look to industry for good ideas, proposals. The industry is at the forefront of all the trends, what you see consumers want, and we want to work with partners in the tourism industry, but also across all the different verticals, whether that is entertainment, music, sports, wellness, attractions, whatever it might be, because they bring ideas to us. the kind of partners that we look for are partners that share our vision. So partners that see Singapore as also an innovative destination, a place to grow with us, that have commitment to Singapore and would like to experiment with us to do something. And in return, I think the tourism board will then also partner you to grow your business in Singapore. So the type of businesses and the partners that we look for recognize the value of Singapore as a place for their businesses to grow as well. Which also means that we probably will not be the right destination for every business, but I think for the kind of businesses that see us as value and that we can also contribute to your business and commercials, then those are the right partners. So some examples of partnerships, and these can span all kinds, right? I'll just give a few examples. It could be a partnership where we kind of leverage the brand's IP. So for example, Flyer has partnered with Wiggle Wiggle, which is a Korean brand.
Wiggle Wiggle.
Okay, for those of you who, I didn't really know what Wiggle Wiggle was, okay, because it was targeting a much younger batch, but it's a very happy brand, right? It's very fun. So Flyer partnered with Wiggle Wiggle, and they basically dressed up 5 capsules of the Flyer in all the different, I guess, icons and motifs, and did a huge retail campaign alongside that. And that, to me, is a way of how a partnership could yield benefits across different types of industries. Because again, it's an application of a different type of IP. So that's a partnership we value and we think is interesting. We've partnered with many different event organizers to bring different events to Singapore, and that again is a different type of partnership. And for SCB, we will work with you to make the event work for Singapore and for our tourism purposes. Other partnerships could be like what you mentioned with a lot of the lifestyle brands. So we've partnered with Coldplay, Universal Music, and different music labels to come up with MVs where we could show Singapore in a different light through soft power and reach out to a global audience. So again, that's another different type of partnership. I think all of these are different ways that we can bring a concept to life and different ways that we can bring value to both the partner that we work with as well as Singapore.
Fantastic. And so I think looking ahead, I mean, our theme is back to the future. The back bit is for me to be boring people for the last 20 stories from the last 20 years, but into the future, what trends are exciting you about the next 5 to 10 years, and who would, mention the partners, but what kind of partners are you looking for?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the partners that we are looking for are the ones that see value working with us, and they see the ability that Singapore helps to grow their business as well. And the kind of trends come and go, I would say. The ones that I think are particularly interesting right now definitely around digital media. So I finished a stint with IMDA, and of course, we were working on the creators strategy at that point in time. And I think digital media is just going to grow. People are just going to consume media in many different ways. But a connected point would be that any IP or any digital media will start to look to transcend its original form, meaning that they're looking to transmedia. You go from film to games, from games to maybe on-location experience, and maybe, again, back into the virtual world or whatever that might be. And there, I think there are lots of opportunities for us to creatively think about how these IPs can be then adapted to something that we do. Right, so whether that is a games IP coming out into on-location experience, whether it is Netflix having a house where all their programs will rotate through a Netflix house, which is what they're experimenting right now in the US. I think there's so much opportunities for us to really take an IP and then find a way to monetize and have that long-tail effect, and then create experiences that engage the consumers. So it's both a way to expand your commercial, I guess, lifespan of it, but also for us to engage consumers and get tourists to come back and experience the destination in different ways. Another aspect of digital, I think, is really, like I mentioned earlier, about how we start to work with a lot of these icons to create content that will speak to certain passion points of visitors. Like what we did with Jisoo, like what we did with Studio Dragon and Little Woman on TV and film. or what we did with co-play with the Man in the Moon NV, those are ways that we can again engage and showcase the destination through a very different lens. It's almost through someone else's eyes, and often that's a lot more powerful than us saying it for ourselves. So I think that trend is interesting. And maybe another trend that I'd like to speak a little bit about is about us being a bit more specific about who we are targeting. Because I mentioned earlier about quality tourism and the fact that we cannot be everything for everyone, and we must be very specific about how we target our segments. Two of the segments that we are looking to target, one early careers and the other one family with kids. They are kind of the bedrock of our visitor profile, but I think this trend in terms of what they are looking for in the future, the type of experiences, the type of products, the motivation for travel for these two segments would be something we're studying very closely, and we would love to work with partners to develop experiences or even events and products that will target these segments so that we are basically hitting the brief when visitors come to visit Singapore.
Fantastic. So I think the final question, which is probably a little bit unfair, who do you think is going to win the Grand Prix?
It's difficult because I know who I want to win at the Grand Prix, but hasn't won the entire season. So I've been a Lewis Hamilton fan the entire time of his career. I would love to see him win the Grand Prix, but I'm not sure he has a car for it. I still hope maybe Lando Norris is going to win it, and then with that, maybe McLaren's going to win the Constructors' Cup right in Singapore.
And Singapore's going to win.
Singapore's going to win overall. That's the most important thing.
I mean, just so everyone knows, aside from the guys that are racing, the F1 Academy is here again this year. I'm really thrilled that we've got Tina Houseman joining us on Wednesday morning for a 40-minute conversation with her. She's exceptional. I think she's 19. She always races on Saturday, and then she's back at school on Monday. So I won't spoil the conversation, but we're really excited about that. But Jean, thank you so much. I mean, look, it's so wonderful talking to you. I mean, you talk about partnerships. I'm so grateful. It's a 15-year partnership with the Tourism Board in such a unique place. So thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck with the rest of the week, because I know you've got quite a lot on your plate. And good luck with Wiggle Wiggle as well, of course.
Yes. And good luck to have more partnership. We want more partnerships, so we will welcome anyone to speak to us, and we can explore more things.
So everyone form a queue.
I just at the back there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jean Ng, thank you.